You know that feeling when you want to really understand something, to get those core insights without spending hours just wading through information.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what we're all about here. And today we're taking a deep dive into a truly powerful, though maybe less familiar to some, chapter of the Quran, Surah Al Hijr.
Mm.
Trust me, this is a gold mine of timeless wisdom, especially when you're navigating life's complexities and, searching for a sense of inner peace.
Absolutely. And we're not just skimming the surface. Our exploration today, it's rooted in timeless wisdom from Surah Al Hijr, a verse-by-verse tafsir and hadith commentary.
All right.
Now, just to clarify for everyone, tafsir means the interpretation, the explanation of the Quran, while hadith commentary, well, that draws on sayings and traditions of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, for deeper understanding.
Okay.
This particular surah, it's the 15th chapter, 99 verses, and it was revealed in Mecca during a really significant period. It's known as the Year of Grief for the Prophet.
Wow, the year of grief.
Yeah, I mean, imagine the context: profound personal losses. His wife Khadija, his uncle Abu Talib, plus escalating persecution from the Meccans.
That sounds incredibly difficult.
It was. And right in the middle of this intense hardship, Surah Al Hijr comes down as a source of immense strength, resilience.
So our mission today is to really dig into Al Hijr and pull out the most crucial lessons. We're talking about understanding divine authority, that extraordinary promise about the Quran's preservation, the powerful lessons and the stories of past civilizations, that constant inner struggle against temptation, and ultimately how to cultivate lasting inner peace.
Exactly.
We're trying to cut through any potential overwhelm, just bring you the essential insights, clarity and understanding. That's the goal.
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Well, the year of grief provides such a vital backdrop. I mean, consider the Prophet, peace be upon him, losing Khadija, not just his wife, but a huge supporter, and Abu Talib, his protector.
And at the same time, the opposition in Mecca, they just intensified their mockery, their mistreatment. It was a period of immense pressure.
You can only imagine.
And Surah Al Hijr speaks directly into that reality, tackling these very challenges. So we find strong affirmations of Allah's absolute authority, stern warnings for those who disbelieved.
Okay.
Then comes that remarkable guarantee of the Quran's protection. And then we got these sobering accounts of earlier prophets and what happened to their communities.
Lessons from history.
Big lessons. The surah also delves into the universal human struggle with temptation. You see it vividly in the story of Adam and Iblis. And throughout, there's guidance for believers on how to stay firm. Our source actually includes a helpful table, outlining these key themes in the verse ranges. It really helps you appreciate the sort of structure.
Right. Structure is helpful. Okay, let's start with that first major theme then. Divine authority and, well, the stubbornness of disbelief, right?
Yeah.
Verses 1 through 15. The surah opens with those letters, Alif, Lam, Ra, and immediately describes the Quran as a plain Quran. It emphasizes its clarity, its accessibility.
And what's particularly insightful here is how quickly it addresses the consequences of rejecting this clear guidance. Verses 2 and 3, they talk about the disbeliever's future regret, wishing they'd embraced Islam.
That's powerful.
It is. It's not just a statement. It's a profound prophecy about, the ultimate importance of prioritizing our spiritual well-being over the temporary stuff, the attractions of this world.
So chasing worldly things leads to regret.
The Surah strongly suggests that, yes, that clinging to fleeting desires inevitably leads to deep remorse later on.
And then verses 4 and 5 introduce this idea of divine timing. It's not always immediate punishment, is it?
No, exactly. It says every community has a defined term, a period of, let's call it respite. This really teaches patience, doesn't it?
It does.
That accountability will come, even if it's not on our schedule, It addresses that frustration believers might feel seeing wrongdoing go seemingly unpunished. Then the surah addresses the ridicule the prophet, peace be upon him, faced. The disbelievers demanding angels as proof.
Right, like show us the angel.
Exactly. And Allah clarifies, look, angels aren't sent down just like that. They come with truth, and when that happens, the respite, that period of waiting, it's over.
Yeah.
And here's where it gets really foundational. Verse 9. Indeed, it is we who sent down the reminder, Quran, and indeed, we will be its guardian.
That verse feels huge. The absolute guarantee of the Quran's preservation. Now, dhikr, the reminder, here It primarily means the Quran.
Exactly. While dhikr, remembrance, or reminder can be broader, maybe including previous scriptures, here, in this specific verse, the promise of absolute unique protection. That applies to the Quran.
This is different from earlier scriptures.
Yes. Unlike earlier scriptures where preservation was kind of entrusted to the communities and, well, changes crept in over time, Allah himself takes responsibility for safeguarding the Quran.
And how does that happen practically?
It's amazing, really. You see it reflected beautifully in Hifdhs, the oral memorization of the entire Quran by millions, generation after generation.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes alongside the written transmission. Both are key parts of this divine preservation. It's just a powerful testament to the Quran's sanctity, its purity, ensuring it's accessible and authentic for all time.
That's incredible. And it is sort of comforting to know verses 10 through 13 point out this wasn't the first time messengers faced rejection, right?
Precisely. It highlights this recurring pattern throughout history. It's almost like a source of, well, resilience for believers facing similar opposition today. Like, you're not alone. You're part of a long line standing for truth against disbelief.
It normalizes the struggle in a way.
It offers significant psychological resilience,
Yeah.
Reminds you the struggle is timeless. And then, verses 14 and 15, they really drive home the depth of that ingrained disbelief.
How so?
Well, it paints this picture. Even if the disbelievers were given a literal pathway up to the heavens, saw undeniable signs right there, they'd still deny it. They'd say, oh, our eyes are bewitched, or it's just magic.
Wow.
It powerfully shows that often it's not about a lack of evidence. It's a fundamental stubbornness, a kind of spiritual blindness that stops belief.
Okay, so we've seen the resistance. Now, the surah shifts beautifully, doesn't it? To the signs of Allah's power in creation. Verses 16 to 25. The cosmos, the earth.
It's awe-inspiring. What's fascinating is how it draws attention to the order and beauty. The constellations are beautified for the beholders.
That's phrase.
Isn't it? Then there's the idea of the heavens being protected against every accursed Satan. It mentions a bright flame, often understood as meteors, shooting stars, chasing away any eavesdroppers.
So like spiritual protection and maybe a natural phenomenon too.
Exactly. It could be understood on both levels, safeguarding divine knowledge, but also referencing things we can observe. It suggests this deep harmony between the unseen spiritual realm and the physical world.
All right, it's not random, it's all designed, purposeful, and then it turns to the earth itself spread out, mountains firmly set, everything growing in a well-measured way.
Yes. Balance, proportion, deliberate design. That's the message.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 22 then dives into the water cycle, the winds carrying clouds, the rain giving life. It really underscores how fundamentally dependent we are on this divine provision.
Wholly reliant.
And then it brings in the ultimate realities, Allah as the sole source of life and death, and ultimately the ultimate inheritor of everything.
And verses 24 and 25, they talk about Allah's knowledge of those who went ahead and those who remained late. That's not just about history, is it?
No, it's much deeper. As our source explains, it has layers of meaning. It could mean those already born and those yet to come, the dead and the living.
Okay.
Or even those who rush to do good deeds versus those who, procrastinate spiritually.
So it's a motivator.
Exactly. A powerful motivator for continuous spiritual effort, knowing Allah sees the quality and the timing of everything we do and intend.
Okay. So from the vast cosmos down to our personal efforts. Then the surah zooms in even further, doesn't it? To the creation of humans, the arrogance of Iblis Satan, and the nature of temptation itself, verses 26 to 44.
Right. We learn about the distinct origins humans from dry wringing clay, and the jinn, which Iblis is one of, from blazing fire.
And that distinction is key.
It's absolutely key to understanding what happens next. When Allah commands the angels, Iblis included, to prostrate to Adam out of respect. Iblis refuses. His arrogance kicks in. He argues he's better because he's made of fire, looking down on humanity made from clay.
That's the core issue, arrogance.
It's a profound, timeless warning against kibra, arrogance, how it leads straight to disobeying God, to spiritual ruin. It shows the danger of flawed self-perception based on, superficial things like what you're made of.
It's a kind of cognitive distortion, really.
You could say that. And the consequences, immediate. Expulsion from paradise, the divine curse. But also, interestingly, he's granted respite.
Respite until the day of judgment.
Yes, and during that time, he vows to actively mislead humanity. He declares himself the open enemy.
A scary thought.
It is, but the surah immediately follows up with a crucial reassurance for believers. Allah makes it explicit. Iblis has no real power over his truly sincere servants.
So his influence is limited.
Limited to those who choose to follow his path, and the end destination for Iblis and his followers is starkly clear. Hell, with its 7 gates.
7 gates,
Yeah.
often seen as different levels.
Yes, often interpreted as different levels or types of punishment. It's a sobering reminder of how critical it is to consciously choose righteousness and seek Allah's protection from temptation.
Right. Okay, then we transition into these really rich stories of the prophets, verses 45 to 79, packed with lessons.
Exceptionally rich, yes. It starts with a beautiful description of the reward for the righteous in paradise. Freedom from grudges, no tiredness, eternal blessings.
A powerful motivator.
The ultimate motivator, you could argue. A stark contrast to the fate of the disobedient. Then there's a quick mention of Allah's attributes, both forgiving and severe in punishment. That balance again.
Balance.
Then we get the story of Prophet Abraham, the angels visiting him. They bring good news, the birth of Isaac, but also their mission, the destruction of Lut's people.
Highlighting protection for the righteous, even amidst corruption.
Precisely. And the story of Prophet Lut and his people, it's particularly powerful and disturbing, isn't it?
Yeah, the angels arrive. Lut is distressed by his people's immorality. They're just brazen demands.
It's a truly harrowing account, a society that had completely abandoned moral boundaries. The angels tell Lut to leave at night.
Don't look back.
Right. And the description of his people coming rejoicing in their perversity, their shameless demands, it paints such a stark picture of total decay.
And Lut's plays are useless.
Completely. It underscores their utter lack of decency, of basic humanity.
And then, verse 72. This is incredible. Allah swears by the Prophet Muhammad's life, peace be upon him, by your life. What's the significance there?
This is considered the absolute highest honor. A unique, divine validation of the Prophet, peace be upon him, his mission, his character, his whole being.
More than just praise.
Way more. It's a profound, unequivocal endorsement of his truthfulness, his integrity, the immeasurable value of his life and message. It powerfully reinforces for believers why following his sunnah, his way of life, is so vital.
The ultimate divine endorsement.
Exactly. And the end for Lut's people. Swift, decisive. The mighty blast at sunrise, the land overturned, a rain of stones.
And these are called great signs.
Explicitly, great signs for those endowed with intelligence and a sign for the believers. The physical remnants, even today, serve as a visible warning.
So they're not just stories, they're enduring reminders.
Potent reminders of divine justice, the consequences of unrepentant transgression. The physical evidence reinforces the warning. Then the surah briefly mentions the people of Al-Ika, Prophet Shu'aib's community, and their destruction too. Same purpose. A stark reminder of accountability.
Okay, so finally we reach the last section, verses 80 to 99. Steadfastness, divine support, the call to worship.
That's right. And we have the account of the people of Al Hijr themselves, the Thamud, who the surah is named after.
Despite their amazing building skills, carving homes from mountains,
their stubborn rejection of their messenger led to their destruction. And there's that impactful hadith, the saying of the Prophet, peace be upon him,
about passing through their ruins.
Yes, telling his companions to pass through with humility, with fear, not even to drink their water. It underscores the deep spiritual lesson embedded in those ruins.
Wow, humility and fear of Allah's justice.
Precisely. The surah then reaffirms the purposeful creation of everything, the heavens and earth, and the certainty of the hour, the day of judgment.
And verse 87 reminds us of a huge blessing. The 7 of the oft-repeated verses, Surah Al Hijr, and the Grand Quran itself. And advises against envying worldly stuff. True richness is elsewhere.
Exactly. True wealth lies in divine guidance, the spiritual treasures we've been given. Then comes that direct command, verse 94. Openly proclaim the truth.
Be bold.
Be bold, yes. And immediately followed by the divine guarantee of protection against mockers. The surah even hints at historical accounts of the downfall of specific individuals who relentlessly ridiculed the Prophet, peace be upon him.
Real-world examples of that protection.
Tangible testaments to divine protection, the ultimate triumph of truth.
And the surah concludes with such empathy, doesn't it? Acknowledging the Prophet's distress from their hurtful words.
Yes, peace be upon him. It acknowledges the natural human pain.
And then offers the divine remedy.
The ultimate remedy, tasbih, glorifying Allah, sujud, prostrating in prayer, and continuous worship until death comes.
It's a really powerful, comforting message about finding solace and strength through connection with Allah.
Absolutely. And the therapeutic power of tasbih and sujud, it really can't be overstated. By constantly glorifying Allah, acknowledging his greatness and humbling yourself in prostration.
Mhm.
You shift your focus, your reliance away from worldly worries towards Allah's infinite power and mercy. That's how you cultivate inner peace, resilience, unwavering hope. It's a continuous personal practice.
Strengthening that connection.
Deeply strengthening it.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it's just so clear. Surah Al Hijr is an extraordinary source of, well, spiritual strength and really practical guidance. It reminds us about divine justice, the absolute importance of heeding divine guidance, the dangers of arrogance, disbelief,
Right.
the wisdom from reflecting on creation, the lessons from past nations, and ultimately finding that solace, that strength, that inner peace through worship and remembering Allah.
It truly is a profound wellspring of timeless wisdom. It offers invaluable insights for, actually navigating life's challenges and finding that deep, lasting inner peace we're all looking for.
It really does. And on that thought, we'll leave you to ponder this. Which of these many powerful lessons we've explored from Surah Al Hijr resonates most deeply with you right now, in this moment? How might you, practically apply some of this wisdom to your own experiences, your own challenges? Perhaps this deep dive has sparked a desire to maybe explore the full surah and its rich commentaries even further. Until our next exploration, keep seeking those deeper understandings.